Hello everyone, this is Pamela Topjan, and today our lighting might be a little off, but I think we'll be fine. I'm just going to give some reflection on how my month of May, off of social media went. So last month I did a personal challenge to stay off of social media for the month of May. It was originally like a 30-day challenge to stay off of social media, and I just did it for May, and May happens to have 31 days, so it doesn't really matter. I just did it for May. I had no idea how much of a habit it had become, or how hard it might be, or if I would miss it at all. I was really interested to see, actually. I had no idea. So I found that I didn't really miss it. I mainly missed Reddit to ask questions about podcasting, plant health, to look at other fairy gardens, to discuss interior decorating, to discuss podcasts that I enjoyed with other people who listened to the same ones, to discuss tarot cards and some of those deeper subjects such as consciousness and meditation and mediumship. So, just some of those interests that I have on there. Reddit is a place where I could have those deeper conversations with strangers. And there's also a local subreddit community to check out what's going on, or if you have a question about something in your own area. And it's the only social media that I've missed that I wished I could click on, that I had something to ask or something to share or something I was wondering about, that I was looking for information on. If you have Reddit, if you're on Reddit, or if you don't know about Reddit, you have to know that it's global. It's so vast. There's so much there. And there is a raunchy side, a more darker side of it. But it's pretty easy to make sure that you're in the subreddit communities that you want to be in and not have those things that you don't want to see or that you're not interested in come at you. It's more intentional, at least for me. Different people use it in different ways. And really, that's just like all social media. I would go there with a purpose in mind and not just to scroll. Facebook was one of the main places that I would go and find myself scrolling, and Instagram was the second kind of place just for that, but not as much as Facebook. And then, there's Twitter, X, that I was on. And I've made some decisions about how I'm now changing some of the social media. With Instagram, I'm thinking of changing the name of that second, more public account that I use for my podcast, and that I was using for hypnotherapy. But I have deleted X. I have been on it a very long time. And the first painting that I did that I sold to a stranger was through there. And I was asked to be a guest on some podcasts through there. And some people bought my books through there. However, it's really changed in the last year, maybe the last 2 years. It doesn't seem worth my time anymore. And I have deleted Blue Sky also, which was supposed to be the alternative to X once Elon bought it. However, it doesn't really seem to be worth my time either. And I just want to be more intentional, and I don't need all these accounts. As I mentioned, everybody uses different social media in different ways, whatever's going on in their life, and the different people that they know, and the different accounts that they interact with, and stuff like that. So I understand, for me in my lifetime, in the time I've been on social media, I've used it and needed it at certain times in my life in different ways. My life has changed so much since I've been, since, I think 2007, 2009, 2012, these times in my life that I was really a different person, and those times that kind of started on social media. So anyway, I've made some decisions on how to use Facebook more intentionally, and I'm deleting one of the groups in there. But I have found that I was kind of reflecting and reconnecting more with myself and digging deeper and thinking deeper. This isn't new for me, but now I'm allowing myself to just follow that train of thought down those rabbit holes and going deeper. In the past, I sometimes would just get a bit overwhelmed at all there is to know and feeling like how much more there was to know and how much more I wish I knew. And it was a little bit frustrating. I kind of felt like there wasn't enough time to follow my interests very deeply. And so I would pick up my phone and just check it and start mindlessly scrolling. So now I started writing out or really typing all about these thoughts and all about these interests and following these deeper thoughts deeper, allowing that to happen. And it's been really interesting and really fun, actually. So while I was off social media, also, I wrote a bit more on my book, but not as much as I thought I would. I'm not reading more than I already was before. I thought I might, but there are some real limitations that I have with my eyes and with my hands. I found that I reached out to a couple people to share news and to ask questions in texts rather than just posting it like I would have in the past. So I had a few connections that felt a little more connected than it does just on social media. I was continuing to post for my podcast in the places that I always did before, and I haven't had any issue with not scrolling and not checking other places or looking at those notifications. I did have a plan in place in case I did find myself having trouble not scrolling once I was on there or not looking at anything else once I was on there, but I didn't need it. I really took this challenge seriously, and I'm really glad that I did, more so even than I thought I would be. I am more mindful with my mornings. I realize it's important what we put in our minds first thing in the morning and more aware of that now. So something else new is I have added some games to my phone, which I never did before. But even these, if you look at the apps and the ads that come with it, if you just have the free version, so many of them are way too flashy and have a lot of blinking lights and noises, just like a casino kind of. So this is really disruptive to me. It's almost anxiety inducing. So I was really aware and mindful of that too. So some of the games that I put on there or the game apps is a jigsaw puzzle app that I do, mostly just animals and flowers and landscapes, just jigsaw puzzles digitally. I have Mahjong and Duolingo to learn a little Spanish. I feel more so than ever before that I think it's most important to follow my interests and to follow the train of thoughts as deep and as far as they want to go, and to let those thoughts and those interests be my guide to live more mindfully and more intentionally and to develop myself more personally. It sounds a little trite or cliche, but to live to my highest potential while I'm still here in this life. So now that I'm back on social media, it'll be interesting to see how fast or if I do fall back into any old habits with it, or if this change is longer lasting. So I want to end this with a line from a poem called A Summer Day by Mary Oliver. And you've heard this before, I think, because people put it in quotes and put it a lot of places. So tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. So I will put the link to the video that I did last month or at the beginning of May, I think, or the end of April. I'll put that link in the description box below. And that talks about the challenge and what I plan to do for May. So as always, I want to thank you so much for being here. And if you've watched to the end and you found this at all interesting and you're not subscribed, please subscribe.